Dr. Morales shared her linguistic discovery with Dr. Kapoor over a heavily encrypted channel. They're pretending to be unified, but their language patterns suggest they're actually different species operating under a hierarchical structure. She explained, dark circles under her eyes betraying her exhaustion. That matches what we're seeing on the electromagnetic spectrum. Kapoor replied, his tiny office crammed with hastily assembled monitoring equipment. The pulses aren't just communications. They're control signals, like remote operators managing drones. Their conversation was interrupted by the building's emergency sirens. Outside Morel's window, civilians rushed toward underground shelters as 3 Obsidian scout ships descended on Washington, D.C. The lead vessel emitted a piercing, multi-layered sound that shattered every window within a mile radius. Morels instinctively covered her ears, but noticed something peculiar. The sound contained patterns similar to the grammatical inconsistencies she'd been studying. It's a command sequence, she whispered, quickly recording the audio on her specialized equipment. They're not just communicating, they're programming their own kind. Across the world in India, Dr. Kapoor's team captured electromagnetic data during the same incident. Junior researcher Priya Sharma noticed a correlation between the sound waves and the electromagnetic pulses. Dr. Kapoor, look at this harmonic resonance pattern, she said, pointing to her monitor. The audio and electromagnetic signals are synchronized. It's like watching a conductor lead an orchestra. Kapoor immediately recognized the implications. They're using layered communication to maintain control of their own forces. If we could disrupt that pattern. The revelation came with a price. The Corellian ships suddenly changed course, heading directly toward MIT. They detected our scan, Kapoor realized, ordering an immediate evacuation. His team grabbed essential equipment and research data, barely making it to the underground tunnels before plasma beams reduced the laboratory to molten glass. Meanwhile, Army Captain Jackson Reed was experiencing the aliens' technology firsthand in Alaska. His squadron of F-35s engaged a harvester ship approaching critical mineral deposits, only to watch their missiles dissolve mid-flight against invisible barriers. Shields aren't weakening at all, he reported, before noticing something strange. The alien ship momentarily faltered when passing over an abandoned magnetite mine. Its shields flickered, just for a second, but long enough for Reed to notice. Command, there's something about that mining area affecting their systems, he transmitted before his jet was struck by energy fire. As his parachute deployed, Reed watched his squadron being systematically eliminated. He landed roughly in the snow, his survival beacon activating automatically. Reed didn't know it yet, but his observation about the magnetite would reach Dr. Kapoor's team and provide another crucial piece of the puzzle. In orbit, the Corellian command sphere received damage reports from harvesting operations worldwide. Extraction efficiency was 17% below projections due to unexpected human resistance. The communication passed through the hierarchy. Accelerate primary resource collection. Biological specimens displaying unusual adaptation capabilities. Possible threat classification upgrade pending further analysis. The invasion was proceeding according to plan, but the first seeds of doubt had been planted in the alien network. The Corellian monitoring program was faster than either scientist anticipated. Within hours of flagging their communication, alien strike forces targeted known research facilities worldwide. Dr. Morales barely escaped NASA headquarters, rescued by a marine extraction team moments before precision energy weapons reduced the building to dust. They evacuated her to a makeshift facility inside an old limestone cave system in Kentucky, where natural mineral formations provided some protection from alien scanners. They're targeting scientists specifically, Colonel Reyes explained as they descended into the cavern. They've hit research centers in 37 countries simultaneously. They know we're figuring them out. Deep in the facility, Morales found herself surrounded by a ragtag assembly of surviving experts, linguists, physicists, engineers, and military strategists, all working with salvaged equipment powered by jury-rigged generators. On a wall of hastily mounted screens, red dots marked alien harvester positions advancing across Earth's mineral-rich regions. The Ural Mountains were already devastated. Australia's outback showed massive excavation patterns, and the Congo Basin had become a sprawling alien mining operation. "We've lost contact with Geneva," a communications technician announced. "Dr. Kapoor's team has gone dark." Morales felt her heart sink. Without Kapoor's electromagnetic research, her linguistic analysis was only half the puzzle. She buried herself in work, attempting to decode a captured alien communication device. 3 sleepless days later, as she was about to collapse from exhaustion, her system detected an encrypted message originating from northern India. "We're alive, moving constantly. 9 team members remaining. Have confirmed shield vulnerability to mineral deposits. Developing disruption prototype. Need audio harmonics data." The message was signed with Kapoor's personal verification code. Morales immediately began compiling her team's findings on Sorelian audio patterns. Their analysis showed that the aliens used specific frequency combinations to maintain hierarchical control. Dominant castes broadcasting command tones that subordinate castes were neurologically conditioned to obey. More interesting, these frequencies operated on a spectrum humans could barely perceive, but which appeared to be essential to Sorelian neural function. "It's not just communication," she explained to Colonel Reyes while preparing the data package for Kapoor. "It's their operating system. Their brains are partially artificial, hardwired to receive updates and commands through these frequencies. Think of it as software running constantly in the background of their consciousness." The revelation sparked an idea among the military personnel. "If we could jam those frequencies," a communications specialist began. "Or better yet, broadcast our own." Morales finished the thought, her eyes widening with the implications. "We could potentially disrupt their entire command structure." They worked frantically to complete the data package as the facility's sensors detected Sorelian ships approaching their general region. With alien scanners sweeping the area, they had minutes at most before discovery. Morales compressed years of research into a single encrypted file and transmitted it through a series of bouncing signals to mask its origin. The data reached Dr. Kapoor's mobile lab just as they detected multiple alien ships converging on their position. They had the pieces of the puzzle now, but would they have time to assemble the solution before the Sorelians eliminated everyone who understood their weakness? Tao Mkosi's journey across the Namibian desert became the stuff of legend. With alien pursuit craft scanning the terrain, the boy relied on knowledge passed down through generations of his family. How to move without disturbing the sand, how to find water in seemingly barren places, and most importantly, where ancient miners had once excavated magnetite deposits. He navigated by stars and memory, clutching his phone with Kirvanx's data like a talisman. On the 3rd day, dehydrated and exhausted, Ta stumbled into a small settlement hidden among rock formations. He expected to find fellow villagers, but instead encountered a multinational research team that had fled from a destroyed facility in Cape Town. Among them was Dr. Wanjiku Mbeki, a xenobiologist who immediately recognized the significance of what Tao carried. "This confirms everything," she whispered, examining the alien data. "The electromagnetic signatures, the biological differences between castes, the control mechanisms. It's all here." The team's communications specialist managed to establish a secure connection to the scientific underground network. Within hours, Tao found himself explaining his encounter to a panel of experts across 4 continents. His clear descriptions and remarkable observational skills impressed them all, especially regarding the differences between Kirvanx and the Sorelians who had been pursuing him. The defector had 6 digits, semi-transparent skin, and spoke with clicking sounds, Tao explained. "The ones chasing me had only 4 digits, thicker skin, and made humming noises when communicating. They weren't the same species at all." Dr. Maya Singh, connected from her hidden facility in Perth, shared her findings on magnetite interference with alien technology. "These aren't just random safe zones," she explained. The mineral composition creates a natural dampening field that disrupts their shield frequencies and interferes with their neural network. As they pooled their knowledge, a Xorelian scout ship suddenly appeared on the horizon. The settlement's makeshift detection system gave them barely 5 minutes warning. Dr. Mbiki hurriedly copied Curvanx's data to multiple devices and distributed them among the team. "Split up," she ordered. "Everyone take different routes to these coordinates in the Namib Nakluft Mountains. There's an abandoned mining complex with magnetite deposits thick enough to hide us indefinitely." As they evacuated, Tao insisted on taking a different path from the others. "I'll draw them away," he said with determination beyond his years. "They're tracking the original data signature. I still have the phone." Before Dr. Mbiki could protest, Tao was gone, sprinting toward open desert in the opposite direction from the evacuation routes. The alien ship immediately changed course to follow, its scanning beams sweeping the terrain where Tao had disappeared among the dunes. What the Xorelians didn't realize was that Tao wasn't running blindly. He was heading toward the largest magnetite deposit in the region, a place his grandfather had once called the mountain that swallows strangers. If he could reach it before they caught him, he might survive long enough for the information to reach those who could use it. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, Dr. Kapoor received the combined data from Namibia and Australia. His eyes widened as he connected the final pieces of the puzzle. "We've got them," he whispered to his team. "We've found their weakness." The 12-year-old girl who approached Dr. Kapoor was named Sophie Chen, daughter of an electrical engineer who had perished during the initial attacks. She quietly passed him a tablet containing schematics drawn with remarkable precision for someone her age. "I modified your Babel transmitter design," she explained with surprising confidence. "Your current version requires too much power and would need a stationary generator. But if you reconfigure the emission array and use quantum entanglement principles, you could make portable versions that draw ambient electromagnetic energy from the environment." Dr. Kapoor studied her designs with growing amazement. This miniaturization approach shouldn't work, but he ran quick calculations on his pad. "You've compensated for the resonance degradation by cascading the frequency modulation. How did you think of this?" Sophie's eyes dropped. "My father was working on similar technology before they killed him. I found his notes, and her voice caught. I wanted to finish what he started." Within hours, Sophie was working alongside Kapoor's senior engineers, her insights catalyzing a breakthrough that had eluded them for weeks. The first prototype Babel hand cannon was assembled from salvaged components. It resembled an unwieldy flashlight attached to a satellite dish. But initial tests confirmed it could generate the precise neural interference patterns at 1/10 the power requirement of the original design. "We need to mass-produce these immediately," Colonel Rise announced after witnessing a successful test that temporarily disrupted a piece of captured alien technology. "How quickly can we distribute the schematics to manufacturing cells worldwide?" The communications officer grimaced. "That's the problem, sir. The aliens have destroyed most satellite infrastructure and are actively jamming remaining transmission bands. We can't guarantee secure delivery of complex technical data." Dr. Morales, who had been observing silently, suddenly straightened. "We don't need to send complex data," she said. "We can encode the essential specifications into a simple audio pattern. A song." "A song?" Rise looked skeptical. "Think about it," Morales continued. "Radio transmissions are still getting through in short bursts. Music is already being shared through resistance networks to maintain morale. We can embed the critical specifications into a melody that any engineer with basic equipment could extract and interpret." The team worked through the night, translating Sophie's design into musical notation. By morning, they had created what sounded like a catchy folk tune but contained, hidden within its harmonics, the complete specifications for building functional Babel devices from commonly available components. "Broadcast it on all available frequencies," ordered Rise. "Set it as the resistance identification signal." As the melody traveled across emergency broadcast systems, ham radio networks, and surviving internet nodes, something unexpected happened. The resistance song wasn't just spreading technical data, it was becoming a symbol of hope. In underground shelters and hidden communities, people hummed the tune while engineers extracted its secrets. And in Sorelian command ships, the supposedly untranslatable human music caused inexplicable errors in monitoring systems. The melody operated on frequencies close enough to their control network to create subtle interference, not enough to disable anything, but enough to plant seeds of confusion. Humanity's counter-offensive had begun with the song. Captain Ndlovu watched the sunset paint Johannesburg's broken skyline in hues of orange and red. The once vibrant city had become a ghost town, with thousands of residents evacuated to rural shelters. Those who remained, his ragtag defense force of 320 fighters, were here by choice, knowing the odds against survival. Final transmitter is in position. Father, his daughter Zora reported, handing him a battered tablet showing a map of the city with 23 blinking dots. At just 10 years old, she moved through the dangerous urban landscape with uncanny awareness, her small size allowing her to place devices in locations adults couldn't access. "You should be on the last evacuation transport," Ndlovu said, not for the first time. "If we fail, there's nowhere safe anyway," she replied with a child's simple logic. "Besides, I'm the only one who knows how to calibrate the frequencies properly." She was right. Zora had memorized Sophie Chen's song after hearing it just twice, and her perfect pitch allowed her to extract the exact harmonic patterns needed for each transmitter. The engineers called her their secret weapon. Dawn arrived with the distinctive hum of alien harvester ships, 5 massive vessels descending toward the city's mining district. Intelligence suggested they sought rare earth elements essential for their technology. The transmitters remained dormant as Ndlovu waited for the perfect moment. Too early, and the aliens would detect and destroy them before deployment. Too late, and the ground forces would establish control zones. All teams in position. His communications officer whispered as alien landing craft released hundreds of ground troops. The Sorelians moved with mechanical precision, securing perimeters with practiced efficiency. Not yet, Ndlovu cautioned when his lieutenant reached for the activation switch. Let them commit fully to the area. Zora stood beside him on the rooftop command post, clutching the detonator she had insisted on holding. Her small fingers trembled slightly, but her eyes remained steady. "The frequencies are aligning," she said, watching patterns on her tablet. "Their neural network is reaching peak synchronization." Ndlovu nodded, recognizing the moment they had trained for. "Now, Zora." She pressed the button without hesitation. For 3 breathless seconds, nothing happened. Then the air itself seemed to ripple as precisely calibrated harmonic patterns cascaded across the city. The effect on the alien forces was immediate and dramatic. Sorelian soldiers staggered as if physically struck. Pilots lost control of their craft. Command ships veered wildly, their perfect formation dissolving into chaos. "All units advance," Ndlovu ordered, leading the charge himself. His fighters moved with disciplined precision, targeting disoriented aliens with modified Babel guns. Unlike conventional weapons that had proven useless against alien armor, these devices disrupted the Sorelians' neural connections directly. The battle unfolded with surprising speed. Within an hour, 3 harvester ships lay crashed among the skyscrapers, their crews either dead or surrendering. The remaining 2 retreated hastily, their movements erratic and uncoordinated. From her vantage point, Zora captured the historic moment. Human fighters standing victorious among fallen alien technology. Her image spread worldwide through resistance networks, becoming an icon of hope. But the truly revolutionary development came hours later, when dozens of lower-caste Taurelians approached human positions with their weapons disabled, attempting rudimentary communication. The first word they managed to convey was unmistakable: freedom. Commander Layla Cheng's infiltration team had trained for 3 months in an underground facility beneath Antarctica. The surgical modifications were excruciating. bone extensions to match Sorelian height, subcutaneous implants to mimic their distinct facial structures, and vocal cord alterations that left the volunteers unable to speak human languages for weeks. The psychological toll was equally severe, with many candidates washing out after experiencing identity dissociation. You aren't just wearing a disguise. The project psychologist had warned them. You're inhabiting another species. Your mind will rebel against it. The 12 who persevered, drawn from special forces units across 6 countries, formed an unprecedented covert operations team. Their mission had a 9% calculated survival probability. All had written final messages to loved ones before departing. As their stolen maintenance craft approached the flagship under the cover of the global diversionary attacks, Specialist Devora Rodriguez reviewed the intelligence from defectors one final time. We'll have 13 minutes to reach the maintenance shaft before the next patrol cycle, she reminded them. The waste disposal channel should mask our biosignatures, but the ammonia concentration will limit our oxygen regulators to 70 minutes maximum. Cheng nodded, her modified features now indistinguishable from a beta-cased maintenance worker. Team 2 will secure the junction at level 19. Team 3 creates the diversion at the crew quarters. Team 1 continues to the network core. Questions? There were none. Each operator had rehearsed their role hundreds of times in virtual simulations. Whatever doubts they harbored remained unspoken as their craft docked with a massive flagship through a waste disposal port rarely monitored by the higher castes. The ship's interior revealed horrors beyond their intelligence briefings. Entire sections contained what could only be described as organic processing facilities, where lower caste Corellians were suspended in nutrient tanks, physically connected to the ship's systems. Some appeared conscious, their eyes following the disguised humans with silent pleas. "This is industrial-scale slavery," whispered Lieutenant Park, her modified voice producing the correct Sorelian subharmonics despite her disgust. "They're using them as biological processors." Cheng forced herself to look away. "Stay focused. We can't help them if we fail." Teams 2 and 3 separated at the designated junctions, each heading toward their objectives. Cheng's Team 1 encountered the first real resistance at a security checkpoint, where a higher-caste officer questioned their authorization. Specialist Katri deployed their prepared countermeasure, a modified Babel pulse disguised as a maintenance tool that temporarily disrupted the officer's neural implants. The team dragged the unconscious Sorelian into a maintenance tunnel before continuing. 4 decks below, Team 3 initiated their diversion, a cascading power failure in the crew quarters that triggered automated security protocols. Alarms blared throughout the ship as Team 1 used the distraction to breach the outer security perimeter of the network core. What they found inside shook even their hardened resolve. The core wasn't merely a computer system. It was a biological supercomputer, with thousands of neural connections extending throughout the chamber like a vast, pulsing web. At its center floated what appeared to be a crystalline structure housing what Rodriguez immediately recognized from the defector briefings. "That's it," she whispered. "The Overseer's primary consciousness node." As security forces responded to the diversion elsewhere in the ship, Cheng's team began setting up their equipment around the node. They had minutes at most before their presence would be discovered. Security forces converged on the network core from all directions as Rodriguez worked feverishly to modify the virus. Specialist Jackson took a plasma blast while defending their position, his modified body reverting partially to human appearance as the synthetic skin melted away. 2 minutes to complete system access, Rodriguez announced, her fingers flying across the alien interface she practiced on for months using simulations based on defector intelligence. The remaining team members formed a defensive perimeter around her, returning fire with captured Sorelian weapons. "What exactly are you modifying?" Cheng asked, ducking as energy bursts scorched the wall behind her. "The original virus would destroy their entire network," Rodriguez explained without looking up from her work. "But these aren't enemy combatants. They're victims. I'm targeting only the Overseer's control protocols while preserving the communication infrastructure." The lower castes will retain autonomy but won't be completely disconnected from each other. Another team member fell, his body blocking a doorway as more security forces pressed forward. Only Cheng, Rodriguez, and Lieutenant Katri remained alive as the virus upload reached 80% completion. Incoming, Katri shouted as a heavy weapons team appeared at the far entrance. They deployed what defectors had described as a neural disruptor, a device specifically designed to target the control implants of rebellious Corellians. Down, Cheng commanded, pulling Rodriguez to the floor as the disruptor fired. The wave passed harmlessly over them. Their human brains lacked the neural architecture it was designed to affect, but it gave the security team time to advance. Upload at 97%. Rodriguez reported as plasma fire intensified around them. Katri took a glancing hit to her shoulder, her disguise failing to reveal the human beneath. They know what we are now, Cheng realized as the Sorelian commander issued new orders to his troops. A communications officer was frantically attempting to alert the overseer directly. The upload reached 100%, just as the security forces breached their final defensive position. Rodriguez activated the virus with a single command and then destroyed the interface to prevent any countermeasures. For 5 agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then the crystalline structure at the center of the chamber pulsed with chaotic light patterns. The neural connections throughout the room began flickering, some severing entirely while others formed new connections. Most dramatically, the Sorelian security forces suddenly stopped advancing, many dropping their weapons as they experienced true autonomy for the first time. Across the flagship, the effect cascaded outward. Enslaved lower castes disconnected from processing nodes. Command crew members removed their implants, some fighting with others who remained loyal to the overseer. The ship itself seemed to shudder as competing instructions flowed through its partially biological systems. Similar scenes unfolded across Earth as the virus propagated through the alien network. Harvester operations halted mid-extraction. Battle formations dissolved into chaos. Some ships targeted others, while many simply powered down weapon systems and established communication with nearby human forces. In the core chamber, a Sorelian security officer approached the surviving humans. His neural implants were visibly degenerating, the control circuitry darkening as it lost power. He looked at the humans with new awareness in his compound eyes and spoke in halting English words, clearly learned from captive humans. "You freed us. Why?" Commander Cheng stood to her full height, her disguise now failing in multiple places to reveal her human features. "Because that's what humans do when we meet slaves. We break their chains." The reconstruction efforts faced seemingly insurmountable challenges. 300 major cities lay in ruins, ecosystems had been permanently altered by alien mining operations, and millions of displaced people still lived in makeshift shelters 6 months after the final overseer ships retreated. Yet amid the devastation, something remarkable was happening. Humans and liberated Sorelians working side by side to rebuild. Commander Cheng declined the admiralty position offered by the United Global Defense Council, despite unanimous support from military leaders worldwide. Instead, she established headquarters for the Freedom Initiative in the repurposed Sorelian flagship, now permanently grounded outside Geneva. The massive vessel had been transformed into both a research center and a symbol of cooperation between species. "We still don't understand 90% of their technology," admitted Dr. Kapoor during the initiative's inaugural meeting. "But with the help of our new allies, we're learning faster than I thought possible." Representatives from all 7 formerly subjugated species sat around the conference table, each with unique biology and culture now emerging from generations of overseer control. Their spokesperson, a gentle philosopher from the Beta caste named Vextal, explained their perspective with disarming simplicity. "For millennia, we believed unity required uniformity. The overseer taught us that diversity was weakness. You humans proved otherwise. You maintained individual uniqueness while achieving collective action without central control. This concept is revolutionary to us. Tom Kosi, now 18 and studying xenobiology at the newly established Interspecies Academy, put it more directly in his address to the graduating class. They couldn't understand how beings so different from each other could work together willingly. Our diversity confused their sensors and disrupted their predictions. What they saw as our greatest weakness was actually our greatest strength. Dr. Morales led the diplomatic mission to former Sorelian colony worlds, where other subjugated species were still struggling with newfound freedom. Her linguistic expertise proved invaluable in establishing relations with civilizations recovering from centuries of technological enslavement. During a particularly challenging negotiation with a silicon-based species, she observed that language isn't just about communication. It's about sovereignty. Each time we learn to speak with a new species on their terms, we reaffirm their right to exist as they are. Perhaps most poignant was Zora and Lo's project at the Academy. Now 15, she had channeled her experience during the Battle of Johannesburg into studying cross-species musical patterns. Her harmonic translation system allowed different species to compose music together despite vastly different auditory ranges. The first interspecies symphony premiered on the 5th anniversary of Liberation Day, with instruments from 7 worlds playing in perfect harmony. The overseer had targeted Earth specifically because humanity's adaptive individualism represented a threat to its control model. It never anticipated that this same quality would become the foundation for a new kind of interstellar community, one built on cooperation rather than dominance, on diversity rather than uniformity. Commander Cheng captured this transformation perfectly during her address at the Freedom Initiative's completion ceremony. Standing before representatives of 8 worlds, she set aside her prepared remarks and spoke from the heart. The stars are no longer something that divides us by distance, but something that unites us in wonder. Together, we now look upward not with fear, but with possibility.